This conference will now be recorded.
الفويس بس بروفيسور هنا.
سامعني كويس دلوقتي؟
اي نعم واضح، نعم واضح.
اوكي طب خلاص اوكي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today inshallah we'll continue this international webinar. Today inshallah we have two speakers. The first speaker is Professor Dr. Magdy Saeb. Then after 1 hour, the next speaker, which is Professor Media Ayu from Indonesia. So now we'll start with the speech from Professor Dr. Magdy Saeb. At first, I want to give your respected sides a brief about Professor Magdy Saeb. Professor Magdy Saeb, he got his bachelor from Cairo University. Then he got his master degree and PhD from University of California, Irvine. He worked with many international organizations in higher educations. He have a lot of research to the security. I am very pleased to say that my supervisor in my master degree and bachelor degree also. He is worked before with Malaysia Institute of Mechatronic Systems, MEMOS Research Center, and also he is leading an international security company. So, Professor, please, the mic is for your respected side to start your speech.
Thank you very much, Professor Abdullah Kalbani. Professor Abdullah Kalbani, I'm proud to say that he was one of my excellent students when he was doing his master's student in the Arab Academy of Science and Technology. And he worked hard and he implemented one of the algorithms, encryption algorithms in hardware, FPGA, field programmable gate arrays. So I'm always proud of Professor Abdullah Kalbani. I thank him for giving me this opportunity to exchange some ideas with you guys regarding information security and cryptography. I've been working in cryptography since 1990, so it's about 30 years now, and things has changed a lot. And I will tell you a summary about the presentation. Okay, cryptography is becoming very secure compared to what was going on 10 years ago. It's like in the last 10 years, a lot of encryption algorithms have been developed that can resist a lot of cipher attacks. And one of those is chameleon cipher, which is a polymorphic cipher. I was lucky to develop it while working in MIMOS, Malaysian Institute of Microelectronics, and we were able to get international and United States patent on it. And to crack such a cipher is very difficult. So there is another type of attacks that came to replace traditional attacks. These are called rubber hose attacks. And rubber hose attacks is, the name is, I think, was coined by probably Bruce Schneierman. And it means that you're actually going, if you cannot really crack the cipher using mathematics, then you go to the old-fashioned way. You kidnap the people who has the key, and you start like beating them with a hose, with a rubber hose. And it is not really well, and kind of these kind of attacks is like it's just you want to force the person who know the key to surrender the key, and this actually will actually defeat cryptography, because cryptography was not designed to resist this kind of attacks. So I keep thinking of myself a couple of years ago, how can we develop techniques that can even resist these coercive attacks, physical attacks on the people who has the key. So I came up with an algorithm or a procedure. I will share it with you, and please give me your feedback by the end of this seminar. Now I think you understand the title. It's how to resist rubber hose attacks and how to defeat rubber hose attacks on your cryptography algorithms. How to defeat physical attacks on the people who carry the key, who know the key of the different types of attacks. And this is like what we do in cryptography. We have a box, and this box has information, and we want to keep three things in this box secure: confidentiality, authenticity, and integrity. Confidentiality means you actually want to scramble the data so nobody can understand it if they don't have the key. Authenticity means that the person who sent the data on the cyber highway should be known to the sender and receiver, and nobody can really change this sender or receiver identity. Integrity is also about preserving the contents of the sent messages on the cyber highway, on the cyber security. In all of these three methods, we use keys to protect the data. But our attacker, I always say she's a grandmother, and she wants to spy on the messages between Alice and Bob. She knows that Alice and Bob are using very good cryptographic techniques. So she's a little bit technically savvy, but she cannot crack the algorithms between Alice and Bob. So this grandmother is a little bit aggressive, and she will use force to ask Bob to surrender the key. And Bob has to resist this somehow. Otherwise, the whole communication system will collapse, and the grandmother, the very fierce grandmother, will know everything. So this is what we're going to talk about. To summarize what I've just said, cryptographic systems is about concealment of a cryptographic key. So we want to protect the keys. And now, because people who do these cipher attacks realize that it's very costly from in time and in effort and in money also, because you have to pay a very well knowledgeable advanced mathematicians to crack a cipher. And some of these ciphers are very, very hard now to crack, especially polymorphic and metamorphic ciphers, the patent ciphers that I have I was lucky to have a patent on it. So they go into the brute force. In this case, brute force is not like checking all the keys like in the old time, but now it's really physical attack on the people who know the key. So we call it rubber hose attacks. It's like somebody use rubber to force another guy to by beating him or something like that, torturing him to spill out the key. So what we're going to do here, we're going to actually use the ciphertext that it was sent between Alice and Bob as a lexicon or a dictionary to really conceal the secret message. So we have a cipher encrypted with a key, and if the person who holds the key was rubber hose attacked, and he can surrender the key because the real information is not totally stored in the ciphertext. Actually, there's another way of hiding the information, the secret information. The ciphertext itself is going to be a modulated channel. So we have a key and a ciphertext, but the cipher and the key can be attacked using rubber hose attack, and the ciphertext can be decrypted by the attacker because he got the key. But now the ciphertext we're using as a modulated channel to carry information using other types of keys. And this is the whole idea. We're going to actually hide the key in the ciphertext by choosing the location of the ASCII code that represented a very secret message, not the original message of the ciphertext, but a new message inside the modulated channel, which is the ciphertext. Since the ciphertext is a pseudo-random text, it can be a very good channel modulation to carry information. So, and also once you send the new types of keys, you can have more messages, more secret messages. I will explain this again. I know the concept is on. So the procedure starts with using a very strong cipher. I would recommend something like chameleon polymorphic cipher 192 bits, or even better than this, there's metamorphic cipher 512 bits. And these are very hard to attack. As far as I know, there is no successful attack against chameleon when it is first patented in 1998. And sorry, 2002. I'm sorry about dates. 2018, 2018 or 2017, something like that. Anyway, so you encrypt with the chameleon cipher, and you use a large cover message. Now I'm going to say the message is the cover message, because it's actually it's not a real message. It was actually what we call it like a message to trick the attacker. And we're going to use a key to encrypt it and send the cipher CC between the sender and the receiver. Now, and we're going to use another secure channel to share the key KC. Now, the secret messages are hidden inside the cipher by its location of the ASCII code of the secret message. And we have a bunch of keys. Let us say we have a bunch of messages like MS1 to MSN, and we have a bunch of keys from KS1 to KS of N. And these are the locations of the ASCII code representing the secret message. And we use another secure message, secure channel to send these keys, which is just a bunch of numbers, to pointers to the location of the actual secret messages. And this is the basic procedure. What will happen at the receiver end? The receiver is now under threat. Somebody catch him, somebody caught him, and is torturing him to give the key. So he has to take some kind of torture before he surrenders the key. The key is KC, not KS1. So he's actually surrendering the key to a decoy message, not the real message. We call now the message that is encrypted is a decoy message to trick the attacker. And the real messages are MS1 and KS1, the key for it. And that's it. So let me animate this to you understand. I know it's a kind of difficult idea, but it's not that difficult. Okay. Here we have a message. We call it the cover message. It's a decoy message. It's not the real message. It was meant to trick the attacker. He wants to get the key, so we'll give him a key for a decoy message. And this is the attack. The attacker come, and it's a big guy, very violent guy, and he will force the person who has the key to surrender the key. He will surrender the key for the decoy message, which is KC. And usually, if you want to really trick him, you have to give some information inside this cover message or decoy message. You have to give some valuable information, a little bit, but not the whole information. Otherwise, he will doubt that this is the clear message. So you give him partial valuable information in it, but not the whole thing. Now, you surrender the key, and the big guy is now, the attacker is happy to have a cover message, and he has some partial information on it. The real messages are actually hidden inside the cipher still. And when you send it in the KS1, which is totally different, these are a bunch of locations of the ASCII code of the real secret messages. So you get the first message. If you send another key, you get a second message, and so on. And you can have n messages, and the big guy is very happy with what he has, which is a decoy message. It's very similar to what was happening in like World War II. People will put airplanes made of carton boxes, and people send their attack airplane to attack the decoy airplanes to keep them away from the real thing. So we're using the same technique basically in cryptography. Cryptography and information security is about attack and counter attack and counter attacks. So we call it information warfare. And the procedure is like that. Yes, somebody's asking something. Okay, so this is the actually the paper is published, and you can find it on my site, or you can find it on ResearchGate, or you can even search it on Google, and all the details is in it. But I will summarize the same thing. It's like KC is the key for the decoy message, or we call it the cover message, and you transmit the cipher, and then you have another bunch of keys. One of them is KS1, which is actually this symbol here is telling you it's a location of the ASCII code representing the secret message, the real secret message. This is actually the information carried in CC is a decoy message. MC is a decoy message to trick them. So we transmit this one on a secure channel. The opposite will be done. If somebody is attacking the key holder, will actually surrender KC, surrender KS1 and KSN, and then he will have the real messages here. Okay, he said it's ignore turn off webcams. Okay. Okay. Dr. Ala, is the sound?
Yes, Professor. I think if
the picture. I couldn't catch this. I'm sorry. What did you say?
If we close the cam, it will be better.
Dr.
Maybe the connection.
Okay. Okay. Now. Okay. Okay. Now, let me summarize it again, because the concept is not easy to grab the first time. This called it's based on an algorithm and called yet another encryption algorithm. It's actually you read a character from a plain text message, and what we call it MS1, and we replace it with its ASCII code. Okay, then we start from a given random location. We start searching this decoy or carrier message, and to find the location of the ASCII code and record it, and this will be actually your real key. And record the of the octet. We call it octet because it doesn't have carry information. It's not a byte. It's an octet. Only 8 bits that can represent a byte if you want to use it as a message carrier. And you repeat these steps for all other characters, and the result is viewed as the key KS1, and 52-bit depending on the degree of security. We found that 16 is okay. So you will carry a lot of octets that represented the same character. We found that for it as a carrier, you can have thousands of locations for the same character, ASCII character. So it will defeat all kind of known attacks. Okay, I will stop here and let you take a rest, and you can have questions now, because I will go to the second phase. Please feel free to ask questions. Any questions? I know it's very very blocked between the original message and the real message.
Please, if you have any question to Professor Magdy, please in the previous part.
Yeah. My name is Ravichandran. Actually, I have a question regarding the message size. What could be the message size of the original message and the secret message? Is there any limitation on that?
No, there is no. Actually, the bigger the message, the more secure you have. We recommend use video, audio, or pictures or image as a multimedia carrier message, and the bigger is better, because one ASCII character, if you try to search a normal file, you will find thousands of octets that you can. Larger, of course, you will have a larger cure.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So,
thank you, sir.
Dr. Magdy, if you don't mind, Dr. Abdullah, can I ask, sir, Dr. Magdy a question? Kashif Ali Saabdi from CFS.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Dr. Magdy, your presentation is really highly informative, because even when we make WhatsApp call, at the top of the screen, we see end-to-end encrypted. This is really highly important. My question is, I am a non-IT teacher. So is it my sole responsibility to save myself or defend myself against these attacks? Or it is it should come through the IT department within my institution?
Okay, very good question. If you are carrying a key for it will be the job of the organization to protect you physically. Because if they don't provide you with physical, it depends on the value of the information that is encrypted using the key. If the value of the information that you have is valuable, then you are a very valuable person and you should be physically protected. Cryptography is about compromise between cost of security compared to cost of losing the information. I hope I have answered your question. If you still have any more question, please.
Yes, I got it. I got it. It's quite clear now.
Okay.
This was the doubt in my mind. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Actually, people in California heard about cryptocurrency, and this is another thing that security is required for iPhone or smartphone. $100,000 of cryptocurrency. So if a thief knows that your iPhone is carrying $100,000 or more in cryptocurrency in your, you are in trouble. He will kill you, spell out the key. And once you spell out the key for cryptocurrency, you lose. So I'm saying that this technique also can protect civilians, not only military, but also civilians, in case you do that. Some people do that. Some people use cryptocurrency and go and buy a car with their smartphone.
Yeah, I do agree, because I remember in the first week of April, for almost 9-10 days, there were regular news on Google that if you want your account to be handed over to you, you have to pay this much of money. So I know the hackers, they were hacking the Zoom accounts, especially around the globe. Millions of accounts were hacked in the first week of April, I remember.
Yes.
For 6-7 days, I read these news on daily basis in Google News. You are absolutely right. We have to be very careful, especially whenever there is any downloading. Yesterday, just last night, Dr. Magdy, I read in Google News that even Google has disqualified almost 122 softwares which should not be downloaded in any Android phone. Just last night news. So I do agree with you. We have to be very careful. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Actually, in 2019, there $700 billion was lost through hacking, internet hacking, and others. Expecting 2020 to be 1 trillion. So we're living in different time. The digital age has its own risk. So any more questions, please? Okay, so we can go to the next part. Okay, this is a summary of what we have been discussing. We have a decoy message and we have a false key. This decoy message and the false key is like to trick the attacker. He wants to get the decoy message. He doesn't know it's a decoy message. You and I, we know that this is a decoy message. So now we encrypted with this false key, and we have an encrypted message. Now this sign means there is an attack, a rubber hose attack on the person who knows the key. So he shouldn't surrender the key immediately. He should take some torture before he surrenders the key. Otherwise, the attacker will. So he will surrender the false key, and the attacker can get the decoy message, and he's happy because the decoy message, like I mentioned before, some valuable information, but not all the information. Some valuable, but not all. Okay, and now we have another version of the ASCII code in the ciphertext, and the secret message really. The red one is the real thing. The green one are all decoy. So we call it the channel and the auxiliary channel. The auxiliary channel, the auxiliary communication channel is the secure channel. The main channel is partially secure, partially have some valuable information, but not the real thing. It's a decoy. Like I remember in World War II, when they have decoy airplanes to attract the enemy to attack these airplanes, they have pilots that actually like retired pilots and wearing fatigue of retired pilots to trick on the airplane that it's a real airport, military airport. So we're using something in the information warfare. Okay, here is that what we have. Any or anything you carry inside the computer is actually, and if it is audio, video, or text message, it's all become zeros and ones. So, and I will message the cover message or the decoy message, and actually you're going to send. Let me say that I want to send hello, HELLO. H, the code for it, the ASCII code is. Let me see if I can. The ASCII code for it is this one for the H, and the ASCII code for the E is this one, for the first and L is this one and this one. So I want to send hello on the real. So at the beginning, I have to tell the key is the starting of counting the bits. So the start location is 854. That here from the beginning is 854. This is 854 bits. And if I count 26 bits, I will go to the first code for the first ASCII code, which is in this case is the same like H. So the highlighted with yellow color is 01001000, which is H actually. The program is very simple, and it will give you and you send H, E, L, L, O, and so on. And the whole technique, very simple, but very secure also. Okay. what we call it, luck is the when you have a good design, there will be some kind of fringe benefits from a good design. One of the fringe benefits, the cover message or the decoy message can be sent only once. But every time you send the new locations, you can have a new message, new secret message. Actually, the cover, like I mentioned before, is just used as a dictionary or a lexicon for substituting the secret messages codes with their respective location. And like somebody asked me, the bigger the message, the better it is. Use a multimedia file because it has a varying octets that can represent the ASCII code. Large number. I counted this one time. On the average is few thousands, between 6,000-7,000 location for one character in a 65,000 bit file. I recommend that you use multimedia files. It's from testing and retesting and retesting. We found multimedia file actually as a cover message. But I want to reiterate what I just said. If you're going to have a decoy message and you want to convince the attacker that this is the real thing that he wants to brag about, he was able to get the key from you and get info, you have to put some information inside the if he finds that the cover message doesn't carry any information, he will doubt your intentions. So you have to give him something to make him happy. Whenever a new key is transmitted, the receiver gets a new secret. This is, we call it TIE like procedure, other secret messages. Okay. This is the civilian use for this kind of technique. You can see this mainly for military. I will repeat myself and say this: if you have cryptocurrency, you have to protect it. It's real money, and this is the summary here. The yellow one is the decoy message, and it has a decoy key. And if there is an attack, you surrender the decoy, and they will be able to read. But if you send another key through a different channel, which is the location of the ASCII code, secret message. The purple one is the real secret message, not the yellow one. The yellow is just the decoy one. And how many messages I can have this way? As much as you transmit keys. And you can see that the decoy message is transmitted only once, but you can have N, which is for a large number of messages all the time. Okay. The chameleon cipher is a polymorphic encryption, a very strong encryption, developed in MIMUS, and I have a joint patent with MIMUS, Malaysian Institute of Microelectronics, United States, and international patent. And you can search it. It's online, the details of this encryption and the detail of the patent on WIPO, World International Patent Organization. Also, we have implemented this using FPGA microarchitecture using field programmable gate array, and two of my graduate students, Rami Zuel and Ahmed Saeb, they are in Canadian citizens now, and we did some work on that. And remember that it's not only military but also wallet keys. Okay, this is my favorite, but okay, give me any questions you want. If I can answer the question, I will be very happy. If I don't answer the question, it will open a new area for me to think of. Questions,
yeah,
please.
Dr. Abdullah sir, if you allow me, can I ask a question of Kashif Ali Sabri from CFO?
Yes, please. If you have any questions, ask Professor Magdy.
Yes,
yes, please.
Dr. Madri, I have got a very important
Yes,
question.
yes.
I'm concerned about this. As we have antivirus to save our Windows, our computers, our files, is there any work going on in the field of technology to develop a software to cope with this problem of encryption and attacks and all these things? Or we have to follow the procedure which you have guided us through now your slide?
I'm sorry, but so far. Would you repeat it again, please? I didn't understand.
I mean, as we have certain antivirus softwares which protect our Windows, our computers, our files from various digital attacks. In the same way, is there any specific software which can help us cope with these problems, especially of encryption and these attacks which you are discussing about, highly important attacks which we have to save ourselves from? Is there any specific software?
Okay, software can protect you from all attacks. In the old times, people thought of firewalls, but it's not effective at all. We have a small company testing. I go to your with a team of 3 or 4 security procedures. Usually, the procedures are the weak link, not the. There are 2 things you can always have in indication for the use. Is a secure way depending on the algorithm you're using, but the procedures inside the company and do penetration testing or vulnerability testing, which is a little bit cheaper than penetration testing. We can detect a lot of problems in the company. Recommend he or she can do to protect the assets of the company. And let me be honest with you, these files is accounting files, producer file, customers files. If somebody can hack your company and get copies of these files, your company is totally ruined. So we recommend assessment, which is a little bit compared to penetration testing, because vulnerability, we just go and visit the company to see their procedure, and we found a lot of companies do a lot of crazy stuff. But if we find that there is, we recommend penetration testing. We tell them we take a permission from them to go and hack the company, not only logically but also physically, and we give recommendation, nice report about and what things can be done to correct. And, the 2 weapons that you have against attackers is encryption, authentication. But there is no one weapon that can protect against all creatures. Okay, I hope I have answered the questions. Okay.
In the same context.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Professor,
every country has a data gateway. For example, Oman has its data gateway, all the countries in the world. If we protect the national data gateway from where we all the institutions in Oman get the data, online data, is it will it be more safe, or how do you recommend that? Or every institution should go for personal security?
Okay, one of the recommendation, you should have multiple servers, public consumption, and don't put critical information on it, but well protected and not open to the public immediately. And here is the word authentication, and who should be able to read which file and what time. And if you open your files, whatever organization, financial organization, health organizations are being attacked every day, because the information in the health. Imagine a nurse can open any patient file, and his blood test results, if he had any operation or anything, they can really take this and copy it and sell it. There is a lot of people now called brokers. If I am the CEO of a big company and people can hack my records and they can really blackmail me. So people have information, but you can have multiple servers with different levels of security. And I was working in Mimos. That was my recommendation for Mimos, and they really for very secure servers with critical information and IP protection. So they have public servers for people who can public information on it. But don't connect to your servers to all the time. You only connected at specific random upload and download certain times for people who has credentials. Not anybody can just go and hack in network. We have reached a good security for companies now. Yes,
Professor, Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, I have one question. My name is Dr.
Yes.
Bakar, speaking from Taiba University, Al Madina City, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Sir, I have two things.
Yes.
Can you hear?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Yeah, thank you very much. See, there is a concept called please.
I'm sorry.
There is a concept. Can you hear me?
Please, if there's others who have mics open, please try to close the mics and let the who want to ask the questions.
Please close your mic and let me ask my question, please.
Yeah.
All the participants, I will request you to close your mic and let me ask my question, please.
Please ask question.
Yeah, Professor, my question is
go
concept called computer scam. My take is very simple. Can you believe or can you say that major software companies are also responsible for this computer scam? First thing. Second question comes in between. There are many software are there. There are many antiviruses there. For a layman like me, it's very difficult to choose which to go, which one not to go, which can be effective, which cannot be effective. Can you please elaborate how can we, being a layman, can select one good antivirus for my system or for my server, whatever it can be? Thank you very much.
Okay. First, on the surface look like a simple question, but it's not that simple, because you want me to give you a medicine that can cure all diseases, which doesn't exist. And of course, it depends on the cost of your information and how much protection you want to have. If you want to protect a size or a small size company, the technique is mainly about encryption. We call it micro-segmentation of the company and authentication. What is that? Encryption is you decide as an owner of the company or COO or security person, IT security person, what are the files that are very critical to the company, and you encrypt these files. And then you come to the problem of key distribution. Who should have the key for which file at what time? And then this is the policy, security policy of the company. Then you have to have some kind of micro segmentation, which is a nice word for dividing the big LAN of the company into smaller LANs and connected with the bridges that can be open and closed by the security personnel on an as-need basis. Then the third one is authentication. who should open which file at what time. For example, if I'm working for your company and then you find me, there are software that will track these things now available, and we have this software. You find me that I want to open the customer files of your company at 3 a.m. in the morning from my house, then this is very spooky and very something wrong is going on. I'm not working now in the company location, but I'm trying to access your company file from a different location. This is actually, we call it actually since this software will keep monitoring the traffic in your company day and report any fishy activities. Mr. X cannot open file Mr. W, but Mr. X can open file allowed for Mr. X during certain times of the day, during working hours, and from location in the company during working hours, but not like from going from Russia to open a file in Oman. There's something fishy going on. So we have these protections, and we can recommend this depending on the cost of information stored on your files. If the cost is low, you don't need so much security. If the cost of losing files is very high, then you have to have added security and costly sometimes security. We have encryption, we have authentication, we have microsegmentation, and we have sensor software that's on your network 24 hours a day. If it's a big company like Shell company or something, you can hire people monitoring the traffic in your network 24 hours, 7 days a week. Because you don't want to end up with lawsuits by leaking some data from your files. So it's a financial decision. What is the value of your files, critical files, not all files? And we don't recommend doing this for all files. We only recommend this for critical files that have critical information. What is the value of this? We can put a money value on it, and then we say how much investment to protect our company. It's a kind of like health insurance. If I know that corona virus is threatening me now, then I have to do a lot of precautions that can be costly. That's what happened in the world now. Asking people to remain at home is a very costly solution because the virus is very dangerous. So we are doing the same thing in information security. We balance the cost and security. Of course, security is actually not very convenient for users. If you have a bodyguard that can tell you what to do, how you walk, where you go, who's your friends you should talk to, who not, this bodyguard is not very convenient. But security is against convenience for flow of information. But we need it anyway now. Remember when we started this in the 80s, the IBM PC become. We were going to the digital world to help us, but now the digital world is taking over us. So this is different now. 30 years after the introduction of the IBM PC, the digital world took over us. We don't go to the digital world. The digital world is already controlling us. I hope I have answered this.
Yeah, thank you, Professor, and thank you, Dr. Abdullah, as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. A good question. Yeah, thank you.
Is there any more question to Professor Magdy?
Okay.
Sir, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
My name is Dr. Imran. I just wanted to know something related which you have talked, that sometimes we buy different courses, different programs online, and the ads and commercials of these programs sometimes we see on YouTube, on some ad, on some Google sites, on Facebooks. Is there a way to know that these sites, when we are buying them and using our cards or details, they are protected and safe? Is there any way to know that, or No.
Okay. Okay. The internet now is a very dangerous place.
Yes, that's why.
And yeah, and there is no one cure for all ailments. You have to be very careful. And for example, I noticed that people, when they go and they want to get some kind of code, C# code, for example, they go and download it from a site. Nobody knows who is this guy or how he developed this C# code. Some of these C# code can really damage the security of the company. And remember that C language is an intermediate high-level language. It can really cause a lot of damage to your hardware also. And like the internet, somebody said it's the best copying machine ever invented. It has risk in it when you do this, something like that, because people can really do a lot of things in these training courses and codes and so on. And you have to be very careful and very choosy. I recommend, if you use some codes, you go to well-established sites that has a track history and has this green light by your antivirus software and network protection, network security software. But it's not even can protect you from everything. Sometimes a lot of things can happen also. The internet is a very wild place now. Yeah, so thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Do we have some time, Dr. Abdullah?
Yes, Professor. We have still 8 minutes.
Okay, so I can show you encryption using polymorphic cipher if you are interested, guys. It will take probably minutes we need. So, okay. Okay. Let me turn off this one. I mentioned that you have to have good encryption, so I will show you this cipher encryption process here. If you look here, we're going to encrypt a file, and you need a key file to overwrite with the encrypted with the cipher. So I'm going to choose. Can you see this, guys? Can you see the
It's shown, yes, we can see it.
What I'm okay. So I will go and I will choose this picture, GWIS picture. It's a PNG image. I will choose it as to encrypt. GWIS. Okay. And I'm going to use a key. I'm going to use this key. And overwrite this ciphertext. It becomes text. So I'm going to ciphertext to overwrite. Yeah, I see it. So, yeah. Look at this. You can choose the word size, 8-bit to 32 bits. The higher the number of bits, the more secure system you have. And the number of concurrent threads now is taken, which is the minimum is 1, but you can have up to 16. What is this concurrent threads? It's paralyzing the operation in short term. Of course, when you increase the number of threads, the time should go down. And here, since it's a polymorphic cipher, it adds encryption because it's key-dependent encryption. when you actually use a new key, you generate a process that is different from any other process. Like if you compare it with AAS, the advanced encryption standard, the process is fixed. The only variable is the key. But here in the polymorphic cipher, the process is key dependent. When you change the key, you change the process. So it make the attack very difficult. So if you have 192-bit key, technically you have 2 to the power 192 different processes. So it's very hard to crack. And here the number of minimum rounds is 4, but the process will choose the actual number of rounds. The more rounds you get, the better secure. So we start with minimum 4, but we'll see how many rounds the system will choose. So I will start encryption now. Okay, you can see that the encryption time is about 0.25. Okay, we have two numbers, 0.25 second, which is about 250 millisecond, and 266 millisecond. There is input and there is no input output. Actually, this is the execution time, 0.25 second, and see that. And if you look at here, the Hamming distance is the number of changed bits. The best thing for maximum entropy or maximum shuffling of data, mixing of data, is when you have half the bits are changed. So it is 3.896 bit per byte. That means almost 50%. And here he count the number of zeros, which is exactly 50%. That means the files have 50 ones and 50% zeros, which is very good encryption in this case. And now let us see what this is, the picture that we're encrypting. Okay, so it's a big picture, it's PNG. So let us see how when it is encrypted. This is the cipher now. I have to give you some recommendation. When you're doing encryption, don't do it while the machine is connected on the internet. You have to encrypt when the machine is disconnected from the internet, because there is some kind of attacks. They can get your key if it is connected to the internet when you're encrypted. You see, that's the cipher. Okay, I make it look like Chinese characters because they have filters on the internet that can detect encryption. But if it is Chinese, they don't have these filters yet. So encrypted file, it looks Chinese, but it's not really Chinese. It's just the image encrypted. The point is, don't encrypt, like I said, on and you save the encrypted file offline, then you transmit it online after the encryption is done. Now let us try to see how to decrypt. If I look at this another image, it's a map, a world map, decrypted file. So look at this one. So I will go and say decrypt. Now, if you look here, I want to place this one with the cipher. So I will say browse, and I will say cipher. Okay. Of course, and this is a shared secret between the sender and the receiver. And I will overwrite. Is a world map. So I will overwrite this one. Just a second, browse. This one, world map. Where is world map? I will overwrite it. Yes. I want you to watch now, which is the world map before overwriting it with the decrypted file. So I will say decrypt now, and watch will happen. You see, it becomes the original one. That's it. And the time second. Actually, this time is a little bit high because the C is busy with the with GoToMeeting software. But if you have a dedicated CPU, probably the time will go to half this value. Okay, I hope I have given you some overview of the as it stands today. Please contact me if you have any further questions. You can see a lot of security presentation on YouTube. Just write Magdy Saeb YouTube, and you'll get a lot of security, and also on on my site magdysaeb.net, or you can find something in ResearchGate, Magdy Saeb. So please, I will appreciate any questions that you send to me, and we'll try to find solutions to some of your issues, and you can give me ideas or help in what we're doing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah.
Jazakallah khair, Professor Magdy. Thank you very much for this very interesting and attractive information. Now the security has become a very hot area in all countries. It's become part of the strategies of the nations, and it's because it's affecting different life sectors. So thank you very much for this attractive presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And inshallah, now after only a few minutes, we'll start with the next speaker, Professor Dr. Magdy. Thank you, Professor Magdy.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Abdullah. Thank you very much.
Professor Magdy, are you
Yeah. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Abdullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, Professor Magdy.
Thank you.
So, are you ready?
Yep.
So, inshallah, now the next respected speaker in our second day webinar, Professor Dr. Magdy Saeb. She is a professor in computer science in the University of San Bernard in Indonesia. She have a PhD from Australia National University. She have a lot of research, a lot of activities related to the computer science and technologies. So the mic is for you, respected Professor Magdy. Please start your speech.
Thank you. Should I change the presenter for this?
You can share the screen. So I think, Professor Magdy, you can close the screen sharing.
Okay, okay. I'm trying to do this like. I'm not familiar with this Go meeting. Is like, is it closed now or what?
Yeah, it's closed. Thank you, Professor.
So
okay,
I already. Okay. All right.
So please go ahead, Professor Magdy.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah.
Yep.
So I'll start. Share the screen. Is it there already?
Yeah, fine.
Yes, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Just 1 second. I can get rid of. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day, I said, because yeah, we are in a maybe different time, and I'm not sure whether there are also audience that's now it's already in the evening. Anyway, Today, I will share an overview about artificial intelligence in our everyday living. So this is going to be something light in general. It won't be something that's very difficult, I think. Before that, just let me maybe, I think Dr. Abdullah already introduced me before. So currently I am a professor in computer science department in Sampurna University, and previously I was an associate professor in International Islamic University of Malaysia, where I met Dr. Abdullah at that time when he was a PhD student over there. And I got my PhD from the Australian National University. I think that's just a little bit about myself. So let's start the presentation. Okay, so artificial intelligence is now in the recent times, I think in a couple of years, it's become a buzzword that so popular that it's almost talked about by everyone, especially when we are entering that what's so called as the Industrial Revolution 4.0, and also now it's also introduced that the concept of the Society 5.0. This popularity of AI also bring some fears to some people. That's because of the things like that they get this information that the many jobs will be replaced by AI. So then many jobs will disappear, but maybe there are not many information that saying also that other jobs will actually create it out of that. And another fear is caused by that AI might be, or is it, there is a big possibility that AI will overpower us humans. It's based on some information that we got from many sci-fi movies that we saw. That's the robot, which is one of the AI product, we can say, that can take over what's happening in the human world. So instead of the human controlling that machine that they created, it's the machine is controlling the human who create them. But would that be what will happen? We'll see. Okay, let's go into, so this is just to emphasize that's why people kind of get more popular information, more about AI, because this Industrial Revolution 4.0, the basis of that, the digital technologies that involve in it, almost all of those is actually involving AI. The robotic, the manufacturing, the AR, the simulation, the cybersecurity as well, big data, all are actually involving all those AI in it, in some sense. So what is AI? What is artificial intelligence? This term is actually, we can say it's composed from two words, which is artificial and intelligence. So from that two words, we can get the idea that artificial is something which is not natural. Artificial usually giving to something which is man-made, yeah, created the human. And then intelligence is usually related with the human mind, human way of thinking. So one of the definitions, so that intelligence is the ability to work efficiently with incomplete and complex patterns. So AI, McCarthy, one of the father of the AI, defined as the science and engineering of making intelligent machine which can perform tasks that require intelligence when performed by human. So others looking at that AI is kind of our attempt to build models to create something that mimic as the human being, especially in the intelligence side. It's not the physical side, but in that intelligence side, the way of thinking. So AI is about creating systems which perceive their surrounding, learn from them, and showcase decision-making and problem-solving skill to accomplish tasks. So just as humans do, AI-based application sense, reason, act, learn, and adapt. So that's the intelligence of this creation. So basically, the basic AI definition should be organized into 4 categories here. So we'll start with the thinking rationally, that can make it acting rationally, and the next kind of level, if it can thinking humanly, so it's not only rational, because human thinking is just rational, but there are other things in it, especially the consciousness that it's hard to be programmed, and from that can do the acting humanly. So if it can act like human, then that AI is actually already kind of fulfilling its aims, which is to mimic that human, make the model of ourselves. There are 4 types based on that definition. Yeah, there are 4 types of AI here. The first one is the reactive machines. That's the basic form of AI. It's more into react to the current situation only. Yeah, and it's usually react based on rational thinking and act rationally. And then the second one is the limited memory. So this AI have that past memory, but limited, not the whole past memory will be there, but the one that's related to the decision making that they need to do. As an example, we can say that one is like the self-driving cars that nowadays is getting popular as well. So because it won't be able if that self-driving car is only a reactive machine. It needs to be able to already have the based on their information of what happening just several previous several time. So they already, usually when we drive, we already observe our environment, what happened previously, what's this car next to us, what's maybe the surrounding, like on the pedestrians, what it and so on and so forth, and maybe the lightning and that happening in that environment. And the third one is the theory of mind, where that's when it's putting into that thinking humanly and to act humanly as well. So able to understand people's emotion, belief, thought, and expectation. So it will be able to interact socially. So it's like that famous robot, Sophia, I think. It's created to be able to interact socially. And the one that in the highest level is the one that type of self-awareness. So the AI that has its own conscious, it's super intelligence. Yeah, so it's like a human being. That's the aim, create the model of ourselves. So when that's AI is already there, then yeah, the model of ourselves is the kind of the complete model of ourselves is there already. AI have several branches. So one of them most famous, and also I think the one that the major part of that AI is the machine learning with the deep learning inside it. And then there is a speech recognition and computer vision, yeah, NLP, the natural language processing, and the expert system. That is part of the from the first AI, yeah, planning and optimization as well, that, and then the robotic, of course. Now, is this AI that's so popular now, is it just been around just the last decade, or it's actually longer than that? Because it just kind of more recently this AI is boost into our life. It's actually not. The AI is the concept itself. It's already been from the time of the Greek, and so it's from the time of the past time. But usually, what people from academic point of view, the first can say that paper that relate to AI is this Alan Turing's article that titled Computing Machinery and Intelligence, which published in 1950, that talk about what it's called as the imitation game. I think maybe many of us knows about that movie as well, yeah, the imitation game. So now this imitation game, I think it's more popular as the Turing test, which used to measure the intelligence of a machine. So this Turing test is still used up till now. So what is this Turing test actually? So this Turing test is actually about whether the machine, which is the computer, able to fool the human being, which is here its role as the interrogator, that this machine is actually a human. So if this machine able to fool that interrogator, that that machine is actually human. So meaning that this machine is already able to think and act more humanly. Yeah, so go into the upper level of the artificial intelligence. So usually what happens is that there will be a machine and there is a human, then and the interrogators, they are in a separate room, and the interrogators will ask question to both the machine and just the computer and the respondent, the person, the human, the other one, and they will give the answer, and based on that answer, then the interrogator then need to identify which one is human and which one is the computer. One of this computer called Eugene in I think 2012, 2013 around that. It's already, I can say, defeat this the Turing test because it's able to fool the interrogators. Yeah, so that's on that right on the other side of the screen. You can see that some of the script from the conversation between the interrogators and this Eugene. So we can see that the way it's answer, it's really like human way of communicating. It's not like machine. So that's why it's able to fool the interrogator. So, okay, the bird for the AI. So from that, then the name of artificial intelligence itself is actually start to be introduced in 1956 by McCarthy and his colleagues through the Dartmouth Summer Research Project on Artificial Intelligence that was the first, they can say, the first seminal kind of meeting for this field of research. And from there on, then this field of research of artificial intelligence then growing up bigger and bigger up till now. And that still, we can see that still will growing up further because that's, we haven't seen that complete model of that human being is already there. So this AI, since it's already been there long, yeah, we believe that it is already also around in our life. So what's in which part, in which kind of things that we can actually find this AI in our life? Let's start with some famous AI that we already know about. So the Deep Blue, that's at that time, 1997, it's become famous because it's able to defeat Garry Kasparov in chess. Yeah, the world chess champion defeated by this machine, by Deep Blue. And then everyone knows Watson. So this IBM AI that's actually able to defeat the champion of Jeopardy. Yeah, that's this is kind of in a TV that's so famous. That's actually this Watson able to show its capabilities to understand and communicate just like a human being. because this here, the question that's actually asked in that particular program is using like
and congratulations. Thank you letter for Wafa Rashid Salman Aliana. Indian Association for Management. Thank you for letter guest honor.
Okay, so is it possible for the audience to turn off the mic, so then there won't be any voice that suddenly coming in? Thank you. And this Watson able to go up to the final and defeat all the participants. And the more recent one is DeepMind's Google one. So this DeepMind able to defeat the Go champions. So Go is games, yeah, with the thinking games, Chinese one, yeah, Chinese games. That's it's starting from that games. I never played that Go, but they say that's Go games. It's complicated because there are so many possibilities and things like that. The strategies and everything, strategic things, the way of thinking has to be there. It's said it's much more complicated than just they say. That's Go player said. So this DeepMind able to defeat that's also make this AI kind of getting famous. So this AI, so that's part of that famous one. So on top of that famous one, of course, there are also many other AI that has been applied in many areas, many in military, in I mean, specifically in there, many in like in space technology area, yeah, many in manufacturing, and also some of them it's actually something which is close to our everyday life activities, yeah, around our home. It's also AI actually in our smartphone, yeah, in a healthcare system that we are also sometimes using, and then in our communication in several types of communication, and then especially now during this what's COVID pandemic, in this commercial and shopping activities that's we use, many are actually applying this AI as well. And in our ibadah, AI also involved and support that. In doing the sport, also in games, yeah, that's a lot, yeah. So yeah, I will look at some of the examples of this AI in our everyday things. We start with our home. It's a vacuum cleaner. Yeah, I think everyone needs vacuum cleaner to help us clean our place. So robot vacuum cleaner, automated vacuum cleaner. So automated vacuum cleaner, it's also applying AI in it, not just for that robot, but also with that machine learning in it. So then when they vacuum, let's say, they will be able to identify the things that's on the floor. Not all of the thing on the floor will be sucked by this vacuum cleaner. So if there is cable there, then it will be sucked. It's getting tangled and everything. So if able to identify that thinks that whether this one, the one that need to be sucked, or this one is the one that they just ignore and leave alone and go for the next one. And they will be able to, they also use that computer vision so to be able to look at the whole maybe room first before they start plan how they will cover all those floor to be clean. Then in the everyday, you can say every day, I think almost all of us use the social media, and we can see that in Facebook. Yeah, there are face recognition. That's actually when we put image, then they will be able to then recognize who are there, and they will be able to help us automatically tag that person, if that person as well in the Facebook. Yeah, so we don't need to one by one do it. So they're already able to help us in this. So face recognition is not.
This conference will now be recorded.
We use in attendance system in our office, and as well in the sometime in the airport, in the making the identity in our countries and things like that. And then
this conference will now be recorded.
So they will be able to scan the passport and use that, you know, the OCR technology, which is back then also in applying this machine learning, yeah, and process that they do the face recognition as well, and tag recognition and everything. And then this one, the one that related to that shopping activities, especially now the online shopping, the e-commerce things. The recommender system, it's not only for shopping actually, recommender system.
This conference will now be recorded.
And then in like shopping, usually when you already choose something, and then or you are kind of interested in certain product, and then it will give you some suggestion of other similar product and so on. If you in the other part is that if you try to Google, you try to search for in several times, you try to search like ticket to a certain destination, and then suddenly you will get many kind of suggestion of this from here, ticket to that, and so that's the recommender system, which is actually the AI. And the one that we also use usually is that machine translation, the Google Translate. That's already been now it's getting so, we can say that it's not only before that, it's kind of starting with.
This conference will now be recorded.
Used by us to actually, you can just this heavily based on the speech recognition, because you can just it's just like your personal assistants that you can ask them to do things using your voice without you typing it. So that's the Mac have that Siri, the Google Assistants that's already able to communicate kind of more humanly. That's Alexa from Amazon, and then Cortana from the Microsoft. So everyone, I think Jenna also already have that. I forgot the name. Yeah, this for the voice assistant. So many things. And there's the one that actually recently get many people attention is the driverless car, which started with that Tesla and then now Google driverless car. It's actually use a lot of things from the AI family in there. Without that, it will not be able to automatically drive the car. So many component of the AI that's actually come in this driverless car. So it might be, they said last time it's going to be that 2020, the driverless car will be able to be used by, but it's not yet, I think, ready now. Maybe in the next year or so. Now, so for all of, I mean, most of those examples of the AI that we use in our everyday life, most of them are using the machine learning tool. So it just, machine learning is like the, now it's become the major of this artificial intelligence. But what is this machine learning actually? So machine learning is defined as a field of study that gives computer the ability to learn. Yeah, so without being explicitly programmed, meaning that this the machine, it's not like the other AI which is not based on learning, like the expert system, which is based on the rule-based system. Yeah, so you give the rules and then the system will get from that rule to come up with their decision. But this machine learning is actually, we don't literally put that program that what they need to do, but they learn from the training that we give to that machine. So the machine will be trained through examples of things, and after a while, after that, it will be able to get like what's the gist of all those examples that trained to them. So then they will be able to use that to make their decision or the actions. So it's just like when we it's try to mimic the way of human learn. So like when we were a baby, not a baby lah, when we were small, when we learn about, be able to identify, this is my mother, this is my father. It's not something that's okay, something that you put that rules in it, that's your mother. So you put your mother, if the nose is like this, the eyes is like this, or something like that, in the height this, then that's your mother, and then that's your father. But that's the thing that's it's given to that baby, that data and information, and by the time after learning for sometimes, then it make that little person able to then learn that, oh, this is called mother and this is called my father, something like that. So the same with the concept of this machine learning. So machine learning is part of that AI. So all machine learning, it will be AI, but not all AI is machine learning. Yeah. So there are AI that's actually not machine learning. That's the bottom line. So this machine learning actually have 3 types, which is 3 types of learning in that machine learning, which is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. Usually, it's trained with examples that label. So let's say if we want this machine to be able to identify types of fruit, then we train them with many data about fruit. So give them maybe images of fruit A and then label that as fruit A. Then images of fruit B, then give the label of fruit B, and so on and so forth. So then after many more training, yeah, then when we give them one kind of fruit, then that, even though that fruit is not exactly as the fruit that they already been trained for, but it will be able to identify that fruit correctly. And for the unsupervised learning, is that usually that supervised learning usually used for classification. Unsupervised learning usually used for clustering. So give a lot of data for them to learn from, yeah, train that, and that based on the difference between all those data, yeah, then they will cluster that data into several segments, several clusters, several groups. And then the reinforcement learning is the machine that actually created to learn from the environment. So they interact with the environment and learn from the errors of it. Just like,
please excuse me, Professor.
Yes.
It would be better if you use the pointer, because to follow you.
The pointer. Okay. Is that in there, the pointer? This, no? I use the, it's coming? No? Sorry. Does it come, the pointer? I did. Oh. You can see that arrow or not?
Yes, the mouse is clear.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So, where were I? Okay, the reinforcement learning. Yeah, so that's the one that actually used like in a robot. Usually, the robot will learn from the result of their interaction with the environment. If they do something and the environment kind of reacted that it's something which is quote unquote wrong, then next time it will not. Okay, so it will learn from it all at once. It's not good one, so something like that. That's the enforcement learning. Okay, so now from this machine learning as well, it's on top of some are already looked at from the example previously. This machine learning, I will show that some of the example of implementation, yeah, of this machine learning. So this machine learning is used in one of the things is about human activity recognition. So using that smartphone. So here is that we train the phone with some activities, yeah, basic activities of a human being, just like running, walking, and so on. And then based on this there is a sensor in that smartphone that called as accelerometer. Based on that signal, different signal from the accelerometer that's actually resulted from different activities that the person is conducted. So that's used to classify what is the person's activity at that time. So like this one will be able to help if one of the things is this will be able to help if people like maybe falling, yeah. So falling, if in that smartphone as well, if it's people fall, then will it be like able to then automatically call someone for help? That's maybe one of them, but it can also use for the like in our own well-being, monitoring our own well-being. So we want it, or we want to have that whether I already run this much distance today or this much this long today or something like that. We will be able to use this, yeah, utilize this in that kind of sense. So this based on supervised learning. Yeah, so be train that with the data from that sensors and label it first, and then after a while, then use it and test it. And this you can see this one is the one that we have created some times ago when I was still in IUM Malaysia with my students, the activity recognition using the mobile phone. So this can be used as well for the, like mentioned that, to monitor the like elderly people. Usually if like that, maybe elderly people live by themselves, yeah, so that if the mobile phone is with them, yeah, and then this will be able to be used to monitor their activities. And another one, this activity recognition also can be based on, so that's the previous one is based on the sensors data, yeah, which in signal form, and it can be also based on the visual data, like in videos. It will be able to identify what are the activities done by the player of certain sport. So like this in badminton. So what's they actually doing? Yeah. So from here, from the sport science point of view, it will be able to be used to analyze as well the strategy in doing their sport for competition. Yeah, how to improve their performance and so on and so forth. So this can be used for in different field, yeah, in different field actually to monitor as well. This one actually not only in sport, I mean for our everyday things, it can use in the military, in training and so on. So in short, I can say that this overview presentation is that this AI, the artificial intelligence, is actually real, there, and it's already been in our life, in our everyday life even, not only in the area that's not close to our everyday things. And it has brought to us many advancements in our life, which make our life can say better and more convenient, but as well, it also brings challenges for us to manage and control wisely. I think because that's related to first question that I prompted. It's about that many people fear about this AI. That there is things that maybe make that fear, but actually a lot other that actually bring benefit to our life. So then from that, the society 5.0, which is human-centered society, will be able to really I think that's my sharing today. And thank you, Dr. Abdullah. Back to you.
Thank you, Professor Media, for this very important information about the artificial intelligence. Ensure that it's a very attractive now area in all different sectors of the life in the world. Please, if you have any questions from your respected sides to Professor Media, please you can ask.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please give your question, please.
My name is Ravichandran. I am from Nizwa College of Technology. I just want to ask you some questions. Yeah. Do you have any? I mean, do you know any artificial intelligence tools for reinforcement and image recognition? Hello.
Reinforcement what?
Could you hear
Sorry.
me?
It's breaking up.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
What is
I just want to know some AI tools for which. Yeah, for reinforcement learning and as well as the image classification. Any tools are available?
For the image classification?
Yeah, image classification as well as for reinforcement learning.
For reinforcement learning, maybe I'm not into that particular, so that
okay.
I don't have it into the. But for the that's image classification, there are, I think, some which is available. One my student using it, just not popping up in my mind at the moment.
Okay.
What is it? I'm sorry, but you can email me. I will then. So then
okay, fine. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Sure. Thank you. No problem. Thank you.
Any other questions, please?
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayu, for your interesting presentation. You've done a lot of outstanding research papers. So which one of those you think is the most challenging, interesting, and applicable in our everyday living?
So one that I actually, this one is not in here. It's one that actually I like is one of them is using, it's not so. One of them is the one that I saw here with this activity recognition. It's very much so. It's something I wanted to enhance more as well. So then at the moment, what we did is still look at that basic human activities, but I want to try to put that into the more complex activities. That's actually the combination of several activities. So then it will be able to recognize as well. So maybe it's like in my one of thing is in one of the area that I mentioned is it can support the ibadah. So let's say if we can put that as a part of that, able to help us do like in my religion, which is Islam, do the one of them is salat. So able to recognize when someone is performing, let's say, or he is or she is currently performing salat. So then the mobile will be automatically will not disturb her or him during that salat. That's one of them. Or in that also another, it can be used to be a help. That's remind sometime when we do salat, we forgot the number of raka'ah. So then remind how many raka'ah already been performed, something like that. So that's one of the one that it's challenging, but it is interesting, and I think it is will be beneficial for our in our life. And another ones that I also look at it is it's give me challenge, but also it is interesting things is the one that we still also develop further is that thing with the smart environment. So that's also putting this AI, many aspects of AI together. So smart environment in this, look at the smart campus for it. Hope that answer your question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, you have other questions? May I have a question, Professor Media?
Sure, Dr. Abdullah.
That the question effects of the artificial intelligence inventions, it will affect positively on the the different sectors by make is flexible and easy, and we can process it in a fast time. But what about employment? It will affect on the person's employment, because the machine will replace them. So is there any expectation or any solution or for this effects on the humans?
Yeah, that's actually is one of the that's the problem with this. That's bring fear to people. But that's what happened is the one that's affected many by the AI is for the things that's it's a repetitive activities kind of yeah, that's like the one that's done by maybe the cashier in a supermarket, and the one that's if in manufacturing, the one that do things in the on the line to do the assemble and things like that, which actually many already replaced by a robot. And but another thing is that yes, some of the things like even that is maybe you know as well that the machine learning, the AI, already able to do better analysis thing about some of law problems. And then in China as well, that's the AI able to diagnose some disease and one of the, even cancers better than the doctor. So but the thing is, if you ask for about what's the solution, okay, so the thing is that currently also there are many other jobs that's newly created. So then one of the maybe solution that can be suggested is that to try to retrain or train further the people to go into that directions, to be more kind of 21st century equipped, so then they will still be able to survive, not cannot having any job. I don't know, maybe that's too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions from our respected attendees? Okay, I think there's no more questions.
Okay.
Media, I would like to thank your respected side for this very attractive presentation. There is a lot of information together related to artificial intelligence, and I am sure that all the attendees interested in this information has enriched our knowledge in this area. And I would like to thank all of your efforts, and we are very happy that you supported this international webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And inshallah, tomorrow we'll continue the third day, and I hope that all of your respected sites to be available. Tomorrow we have two presentations. The first presentation from Engineer Haytham Al-Hajri and from Ministry of Communication and Technology, and the second speaker, Dr. Dijala from College of Engineering. So thank you very much, and see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Okay, thank you, Dr. Abdullah.
Thank you, Professor Media. Thank you very much. All the best.
Yeah, salam. Bye.
Thanks.